The frequency of insider attacks has dropped sharply since a peak in 2012. But the number of NATO troops in Afghanistan has also dropped nearly 75% in that time. There have been 4 green-on-blue incidents this year, including an attack on August 5, 2014, that left 2-star General Harold Green dead, the first U.S. general to die in combat since the Vietnam War. Experts tell For the Record the military reacted too slowly to the insider threat, and that failed strategy got American troops killed.
Together with our allies and the Afghan government, we have agreed that this is the year we will conclude our combat mission in Afghanistan.
Once the Taliban knew that we were going to be leaving in 2014, once that public statement had been made, in my mind, they figured we've won. Now we've got to do things to keep pressure on the Americans to make sure that they leave.
Brian Fairchild is a former case officer for the CIA. In 2012, during the worst streak of the insider attacks, he was an American contractor serving as an advisor to Afghan intelligence officials.
Anytime you tell the enemy, you're going to win if you just hang in there until this date and we're going to leave, well, that's not a good thing in war.
The characterization by the American military brass, the Pentagon, in response to these insider attacks has been appalling. For instance, General Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, blamed the lack of diversity training. We see General John Allen, who claimed that Ramadan fast, that the fighting season coincided with the Ramadan fast, and so therefore, the Muslims in the Afghan military were aggravated because they weren't able to eat during the day, and that's why they were killing their American counterparts, which is just flatly ridiculous.
If you take a look at a very important Red Team report produced by the ISAF headquarters by a PhD who led the effort, Jeffrey Borden. His main thesis was there's a clash of culture.
Dr. Jeffrey Borden's May 2011 report pushed back against the official narrative and warned that insider attacks were not isolated incidents, but rather a growing systemic threat to coalition forces. The report offered 58 recommendations to prevent future attacks.
The story of Jeff Borden is interesting because of the military's response to his report. He raises these questions, identifies that this is an increasing problem. The report becomes public. They immediately classify the report when the details reach the media. He's punished, he's removed from his team.
It pretty much resulted in his report being shot up and him being shot up from an academic perspective. And understand he wound up actually being sent home.
But as these attacks continued to increase in 2012, basically confirming what he said, then his analysis is adopted into the system, and then he's eventually given a Bronze Star for the very report that he was punished for.
Borden is now back in Afghanistan, working to prevent insider attacks. Via email, he declined For the Record's request for comment. But he did speak to the military newspaper, Stars and Stripes, in September 2012 about the military's refusal to act on his suggestions for a year and a half. He told the paper, "It's just tragic so many lives had to be lost before definitive action was taken."
That episode, I think, really exhibits the problem that we see with these green-on-blue incidents, where you have military incompetence, you have corrupt allies, and you have this process that's used to either shut down investigations or punish people who are asking the hard questions.
You wonder, when does it end? I want to see all our troops out of there, and they say our combat troops are coming out. Great, but we're leaving. The only people we're leaving are the advisors. Well, who's going to protect them?